Welcome to the Typical Skeptic Podcast, where we dive deep, you decide. Questioning the matrix from UFOs, where the shadows unknown reside. Rob Khalil busting myths like ghosts in the night. Paranormal pros, secret space ops, yo, we keep it real, no fright. Typical skeptical seeking, never sleeping on the lies. Aliens, Anunnaki, black ops in disguise. From abductions to ancient scripts, we flip the script wide. TSP style, mile after mile, truth can't hide. Hold up, TSP crew assemble, we dismantle the fable. My lab's targeted souls breaking out of the stable. Dogman howling, Bigfoot prowling, cryptids in the mist. Mandela the fifth twist in reality, can't resist the twist. Soul trap snapping, reincarnation mapping, holographic dreams. Near-death visions, out-of-body missions, waking up the teams. No censorship here, we fear no elite scheme. Conspiracy kings ringing bells, hear the freedom ring. The skeptical seeking, never sleeping on the lies. Extraterrestrials, interdimensional highs. Welcome to the Typical Skeptic Podcast.
Welcome to Typical Skeptic Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Welcome to Typical.
Oh, wait. There we go. Oh, wait. Sorry. There we go. Hey, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. I'm really excited about my guest today. We're going to be talking about what are entity attachments, how might spiritual interference affect a person, and what can people do to strengthen their discernment and energetic boundaries. I have with me psychic healer, teacher, and consciousness arts guide, Laura Van Tyne. She joins us for an in-depth conversation about entity attachments, spiritual warfare, psychic defense, false light, and spiritual sovereignty. Laura's journey into this work began after what she describes as paranormal forces invading her family home. She says those frightening experiences led to approximately 10 years of intensive study as she searched for ways to understand what was happening to her and help her family. Her path ultimately took her form working as a school teacher, assisting people who believe they're experiencing spiritual entities or interference. Laura holds a master's degree in education and a bachelor's in education with academic study in Spanish and mathematics. Her listed training in areas of practice include past life regression, biogeometry, remote viewing, entity and implant removal, home and space clearing, and soul retrieval. She's also the author of the book Battle with the Dark Side, My Journey from Teacher to Exorcist. And you can check that all out at her website, lauravantyne.com. And I'm at her stage now. Laura, thanks so much for coming on for the first time. How are you?
Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, we've been swimming around in the same circles, but we've never really connected directly. So thank you for this.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. Yeah, like I know you were just on Chris Matthews' show from Forbidden Knowledge News. I consider him a good friend. Like, you know, we get a lot of similar guests and stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah, and then a couple of my friends like reached out to me and they asked me if I had you on my show, and I was like, no, I haven't had her yet. And they were like, you got to get her on your show. Like they were like adamant about it. Like, you know.
Okay. Well, thank you. I don't know who they are, but thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently your work is like, you know, it's reaching people because like people are really, and it said that you know what's going on with like this entity attachment and spiritual interference and stuff, which is like it's been a battle for me for the past 2-3 years. You know, like it's on and off. Like some days I feel good, some days it feels like an energetic attachment on my head or like on my eye or like, you know, it's weird. You know, it's really bizarre.
It's ramping up. This spiritual war we've been in is not new. It's been going on for millennia, right? But I feel like there's so much ascension, so much knowledge, so much consciousness raising on this planet that literally these little parasitic entities are just having toddler temper tantrums. And if you've ever been at a grocery store when a random toddler has a temper tantrum, everybody knows about it, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't make it easier, but I think that this is a big part of what we're all experiencing. These interferences have been growing over the past several years, actually, exponentially so.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about, I know I read your bio at the beginning, but
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about your story. What got you into this? So you were in a haunted house for like a big, large part of your life, or over 10
It
years, it
the
sounds like.
house didn't start out haunted. That's the weird thing. So it didn't start out haunted. What ended up happening is that one of my daughters started seeing and sensing things. And I, as a child, could see and sense things as well. But my parents were like, yeah, don't be weird. And I just sort of like brushed it off. And it just kind of, I'm going to say it went away for the most part. I just didn't pay it any attention, right? Those psychic impressions and things like that. And then when this started happening, the interferences weren't unicorns and rainbows and fluffy kittens and puppy dogs. Okay. This was like wild. And, we had a three-headed crocodile roaming around our house. I'm like, I have no idea what that
What?
is.
Are you
Oh, yeah.
serious?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It was like, what the heck? And
A three-headed crocodile?
yeah, it was a
Holy,
reptilian shapeshifter. I know that now, but 20 years ago, we didn't know what this stuff was. The internet wasn't what it is.
yeah,
All of these
absolutely.
things. So we had this three-headed crocodile that would roam around the house. And in the beginning, I couldn't really see, or I could sense it, but not fully see it. But I would always know that we had a dog, two cats, and a house rabbit. And they would know when it was around. Those were like my canaries in the coal mine. I'm forever grateful to them, but I'm sorry that they had to have those experiences. And so we had ghosts, we had the Hatman, we had all kinds of things all at the same time, all simultaneously.
Wow,
Yeah.
that makes like what I've been dealing with like sound like puny. Like I mean, like what I've been dealing with is like astral parasites. It feels like what it feels like. I
Yeah.
think I told you this. It feels like when I lay in the bed, it feels like there's like an astral snake underneath me. Like is it
Okay.
like bumps start coming up off the bed, and then it feels like it then dissipates into mini astral parasites, and they start like loose feeding and like.
Right.
Someone said, "Well, why don't you just throw your bed away?" I'm like, I don't think it's that simple.
It's
I'm
not
like,
that simple. God, it would be so great if that's all we had to do, right?
and it's not, it's, and yeah, and I was telling someone the other day, I was like, it's not like what you think. I was like, it's
Mhm.
not like, like I've tried like so many people, and everybody that has tried to help me, I would highly recommend them to other people as well. I just think that I'm dealing with something that's like, I don't even know
Well,
maybe I'll just say this real quick. My ongoing theory is that like someone keeps sending me black magic over and over again. That's
it
kind
could
of like
be.
a, yeah,
Absolutely, it could be, and it can be many different things. This stuff happens from many different angles. For example, is somebody sending you voodoo, black magic, curses, hexes, something like this? Is are you astral traveling at night and getting hijacked at night? Is the home that you're in, does it have like energetic weak spots where they can travel into you? Based on the work you're doing with, the paranormal, you're going to have a little bit of a brighter light about you. I mean, that's just kind of how it works, right? They're like,
yeah.
oh, this guy is interesting. Is there something that we're doing in our life or lifestyle that we don't know that is kind of opening a doorway? And it's not a criticism. One of the
No.
biggest openings that we can have, honestly, and it's not going to make me popular, um, violent video games. People who tend to
Wow.
play violent video games quite a bit um, will create weaknesses throughout that old Batman movie. I think was who died? Was that Heath Ledger or somebody? I don't really remember.
I
It was
think so.
years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
years ago. Well, there was something going on energetically there. And let's say there's something energetically going on on the movie set. And it's Hollywood too, right? And
Yeah.
things are happening. But what happens now when I take that live stream, or back then it was a VCR or whatever, right? Alcohol is another good one, Joanne. Absolutely. And it enters our field, right? Was we're watching it. Sometimes horror movies can do this. And it doesn't mean every horror movie, every violent video game is going to do this. It means that the dark side is looking for some type of crack in our foundation. And, Joanna Childs mentions alcohol. Absolutely. They call it spirit for a reason. That's kind of cliche, but it's true.
Can
Because
marijuana be a gateway? Like, because like I do smoke marijuana at night. Like,
it can be a gateway, not always. So here's the issue with marijuana is that before it was regulated, there's like basically one variety of marijuana. Now
yeah.
that it's regulated, all of these producers and manufacturers are adding their own stuff to it, and we don't really know what we're getting. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
that's a good point. Yeah, yeah. That's a
So
really good point. Yeah.
yeah, and so there's many different things, and so what we want to do is kind of like clean house, raise our base vibration as best as we can, and there's many ways to do it. The idea of really creating a healthy soul, because this is what we're talking about. These
Yeah.
things pick at us, right? And we want to create a healthy soul. So when we have a higher vibrational frequency, when we cost them so much energy, which is a form of currency, it's like they're spending money on us, right? And they don't get the payback back, then they will start to lose interest in us because they're losing. Another part of it is some people are bigger targets than other people. Some people have soul missions, soul purposes, etc. Some people are bigger targets. I know I've got a target on my back that's probably bigger than my house, okay? But I respect that. So there's many themes and variations is where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
We've got, somebody's talking about NLP, kind of a concept, that neurolinguistic programming that we're all indoctrinated with, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so uh, when we talk about the programming, and this is kind of an offshoot because I don't think this relates to you. Maybe it does, I don't know. But it relates to so many others, is this programming that we get, and it could be childhood programming. Don't trust your intuition, or these, do you remember, were you around when they had the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends or something? Like, it was a cartoon.
Um,
And
was that in the 80s or 90s? I'm
maybe
an
it's like
80s
in the
kid. I was
90s.
born
I
in
think it might have been in the 90s. And
yeah.
so basically it's all of these thought forms that, and because somebody had mentioned, I wrote it down, that thought forms are beings that we create. We can create these things too, and children are really good at it. Teenagers are really good at whipping around this energy, let's face it.
Yeah.
Um, so anyways, there's a lot of theme and variation, and I think what we could do is just kind of like dissect it a little bit and give people solutions so they can kind of help themselves or decide if they need somebody to assist them, basically.
Yeah. And then like when you assist someone, like what do you usually do? Is it like a combination of like energy work or like what like or like do you I guess it differs, right? Because you do soul retrieval, you do house clearings, right? So like it just I guess it depends on what the person needs, right?
It does, but I always go to, or when I say my spiritual team, and I always go to what the person needs. That's the priority. It's not what I think they need, it's what they need.
Yeah.
So what happens, and I really like to work this way, and I learned these skills and techniques to work in this manner because those like 10 solid years of pure hell. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I have all these, I'm hiring every psychic frog, shaman, blah, 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 everything, moving mountains to solve my family's problem. And most of the time, 99.9% of the time, people are telling me what they think they know. Oh, well, in fact, this is kind of the funniest story, is that we had this ghost child in our house named Annabelle, not related to the horror flick, and it was before the horror flick, who came to live with us. She was in resonance with one of my daughters of the same age. And so she comes to live with us. And then I realized one day she doesn't realize she's dead. She's about 8 years old.
No. Wow.
And because she's constantly looking for her mommy. And I don't know what to do for her. And I don't know what to do for my family either at that point. And finally, I just kind of asked her, I said, do you know that you died? Then the realization of this ghost consciousness came to fruition, and she became so angry. And she started harming our little girl. It was just awful, awful, awful. And so where I'm going at with this is that children see and sense things, and we need to respect that. And we need to be able to do something about it. So what do I do? Because I had all of these people telling me these things, I didn't know what was true or not true. So when I finally started figuring it out, I realized I want to do something different. Rob, let's say you and I are let's say you and I are going to work on clearing whatever's with you. I'm not going to tell you what it is. you and I are going to do a very specific guided meditation that I developed, and you're going to see for yourself. I'm going to ask you questions, and we're going to discover it together. Remove it off the earth plane. That's key. Because when you can see and sense it and see and sense the origination point and what's happening, and we remove it together, your subconscious self is satisfied that, okay, I'm safe now. And it makes all the difference in the world. And so we work together, and it could be reptilians, it could be grays, it could be, hat men, it could be anything. It could be black magicians, it could be a voodoo curse. It could be a curse from a, living person, whatever it is. And we have to understand, and I'm kind of like going all over the place here, so I'm going to slow down a minute. So working together, we have to understand that we're dealing with a non-tangible world outside of our 3D world. And then when we work together, you and I get 2 data points versus me just telling you what I think.
Yeah. When you say 2 data points, you mean like just like areas of reference about like what's going on with the situation, I guess.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. And I don't want to go into the process publicly, because you can have a very different experience than, somebody else. And I don't want that somebody else to say, oh, this is what I should expect, because everybody is so unique. No 2 people have the same entities on them, let me tell you. That would be easy.
Wow, I mean, and it's crazy. It seems like the veil's thinning. It seems like more people are having like these incursions, like with all kinds of weird stuff,
I think it's a blend. I think we're talking about it now. So now I know I'm not going crazy, but there's something else happening. I think that's big. I was just talking, texting or messaging with a woman who's 67 years old. And she says, for years, I thought it was just me, and my family told me I was crazy, blah, blah, blah. Now I know that's not true.
Wow.
And we're more aware of it. We're talking about it, and we're learning to say no more.
Yeah.
Just done. And that's pivotal. One of the things I do want to bring up to everybody out here listening is, if you're working with a practitioner to seek this type of help and this relief, ask them, how do they remove the entities? If they say bind them, bury them, or cast them away, those are problems. If I bind something, it can break free. If I bury something, I'm harming the earth, even if it's energetic, and it can break free. And if I cast something away, what's to say it's not going to come back at me even harder, faster, and more furious? Or worse, it goes to your neighbor, your friend, your spouse. Because if you cast it away, what happens to it?
It probably just stays in your house and goes somewhere. It could go to your neighbor's house. I mean, it could go anywhere, right? You're just casting it away, right?
Yeah, we want to make sure that these entities return to God's source energy. When they left the light of God, and I use these terms almost like a generic bucket. When the Luciferic forces left the light of God, when the reptilians, when the grays, when the fallen angels, when they left the light of God, God's source, energy, creator, whatever word we want, they left behind an energy source. And they're like, oh shit, we don't have an energy source now. What are we going to do? And they start looking at planets like ours. We're not the first planet to deal with this. We're starting to look at planets like ours and say, wait a minute, I can use these humans as a step down transformer as far as energy is concerned, and start siphoning energy loose off of them. And they do it in many different ways, as we know, through emotions, through tragedy, traumas, all the things. But it's up to us to say no more and learn how to create a healthy soul. And that's what this is all about. We talk about our health all the time, our physical health, our mental health, our emotional health, our financial health, right? But when do we start talking about our soul's health? When we can start having these conversations it strengthens us so fast and so quickly. It's like we're catapulted. My soul health, the soul, what is the soul, first of all? The soul is the energy that animates these bodies.
Yeah.
When we die, we leave this body. This body is nothing more than a rental unit, really, right?
Yeah.
And I want my deposit back on my rental unit, right?
Absolutely. Right.
So I want to make sure that I have a healthy soul. And there's many ways we can look at this. Am I compromising myself? So let's say, for example, in the workplace, am I screwing somebody over so I can get ahead? That's a form of compromising myself, right? Am I, being greedy when it comes to like the will or whatever, an estate or something like that? There's all the landlord needs to do an upgrade on my property. That's great. I've never heard that one. That is awesome.
Well, I didn't.
Rochelle Kyle says my landlord needs to do an upgrade on the property, meaning the body. That's funny. Thank you for that laugh, by the way. I might have to quote you on that, Rochelle. So anyways, this healthy soul concept, what can I do to create a healthy soul? What am I energetically aligned with? Look at friends and family, and I'm not talking about estrangements, but look at friends and family. Do you have commonalities or themes with them? Are you learning to overcome, for example, a childhood trauma? Are you learning to change the course of your life for some reason for the better? All of this stuff is so important. And there's many ways to skin the cat, basically, which is a terrible expression, but there's many ways to attain a healthy soul, but a lot of it is with intention.
Yeah. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, what? Wait.
So our soul, we all come in here with maybe lessons and experiences. Maybe our free will is mitigated. A lot of people's free will is mitigated quite a bit. To say that we have soul sovereignty, I question that because of the way the dark side is puppeting us. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's still up to us to break free, period. And for some people, they come into this earth plane, they reincarnate here with a cute little Kate Spade bag of garbage, and other people come in with freight trains of garbage, right? And
Yeah.
so it's still up to us to clear it. That's kind of where it may not be fair, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So everybody has their own responsibility to yeah. So yeah. And you guys, if you have a question for Laura, put it in the chat. And yeah, thank you guys for sharing the links. I'm trying to think what would be another good question. Like, what all kinds of entities have you encountered throughout your time? Like,
oh, a lot of them, even stuff that I don't even know what they are.
yeah.
The most common, and they kind of roll through themes. Like I'll be working with, clients individually, but they seem to be like themes. Maybe it's a lot of reptilians are coming through, for example. Reptilians and grays and archons are kind of like the biggest ones, the most commonly known ones. Archons are sort of relatively new. The reptilians are the ones that basically created communism. They started World War I and II. They also start a lot of the wars on this planet. Why do we need to be fighting so much? We don't. They are puppeting. They're also responsible and work directly with the cabal for the most part. There's other entities that do too. The grays are the ones who do a lot of abductions and experiments upon us. They kind of bred themselves out of the ability to reproduce. So now they're using other sources of DNA. The grays are also brokers in all of this, meaning so they're kind of brokers. So if they are abducting people, they may take those souls or those consciousnesses of people and sell them to the highest bidder. Maybe it's the Anunnaki, maybe it's the reptilians, maybe it's the whatever it is. And it becomes really complicated. a lot of the work that I do, let's say you and I are working and we see this reptilian, I'm going to call it, maybe it's an egg nest, maybe it's a reptilian satellite or ship or something. And we remove it. And there's a process, I'm going to say but it's my spiritual team. And I want to get into the concept of vetting. I never trust my team as who they say they are for a reason. We'll go into that in a minute. So we're removing them from this person's energy field. And I want to go back through time, space, and dimension with this group to remove them all out as they echo out and pull them in. Once we do that, my team's guides take them, they're more than guides, back into the creator God source energy. So they are now physically off the planet. They cannot come back and harm this planet again. And they reside in that lower astral plane. All of these beings do. In the lower astral plane, they reside in, they can even create pocket dimensions. And there's many levels to this. Getting them out of here means that they're gone. They can't return. This is a big deal. And we're seeing a lot of things starting to crumble and fall. And we're seeing a lot of things being exposed now. And that's a big deal.
Absolutely.
So I've seen a lot of different beings and entities. I've seen them physically. I've seen them on cameras. I've, see them when I'm working with clients. Yeah.
See, like about my thing, like I've never even seen anything. Like I mean, like actually, what was weird was like last night I went out for a smoke like really late, and when I looked to my right, I saw like a black mist, like it looked like a spirit, like, and it looked like it was going towards my window. Because like when I go outside, like I can look to the right and like I can look at my window or whatever, So I was like, oh, that's interesting. But like other than that, I've never seen a demon, a ghost, anything. I've just felt like an energetic attachment. You know what I mean?
Okay, you're bringing up a really good point. That actually is a form of seeing, because something is there.
Yeah, I'm sensitive.
It's just we're not seeing it like you and I are seeing each other necessarily, right? Sensing is seeing. A lot of times we see this dark little flit out of the corner of our eye that you described. That is very common also. Do Dracos get entity attachments too? Yeah, me. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's a really good question. I don't think so, but I've never even thought about that before. That's a really good question. I'm going to be actually thinking about that. I don't think so though. So yeah, there's many ways to see and sense things as we go along, and learning to sense means that we're connecting to our intuition and our higher self. And our higher self is our connection to this God point source energies. When we learn to connect there, we actually start to use this as a compass, right? We're navigating, does something feel right or not right? And to really simplify this, there's 3 forms of energy: positive, negative, and neutral. That's it. Does it feel right? If so, why? If not, why? Ask yourself the why. That's one of the biggest things we can do to help with soul health. Asking the why.
This is fascinating. Like, let me see here. Some guy says he's using prayers from Christopher Macklin to protect me. I was just kind of reading through the comments. So yeah. Are you a big believer in prayer, or what do you feel about that?
Prayer and meditation are important. It centers us, it grounds us, but prayer without action is wishing and hoping. So if we're praying for something, we need to follow it with a 3D action. If I'm praying that I get $1 million by December, I need to have an action behind it. Otherwise, it's just wishing and hoping, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And, Willow Roots is asking a really good question. Can't these entities and beings evolve or get a chance to? Yes. But I'm going to say not while they're on the earth plane.
It
Let
seems,
them.
you know what I always say to people? It seems like DNA is a, or and no, it seems like energy is a currency, and any being, it seems like they want
Yeah.
energy. I also said this. I said when someone's channeling, like I'm not big on channeling. I have this
Mhm.
theory that like when someone's channeling, they're inviting an entity in them, and like it seems like just from my experience of what I'm dealt with, it seems like entities always want energy. You know what I mean? It's like they're energy fiends or like energy junkies. You know, they all they
Absolutely.
want to do is lose feed. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like they must love energy. You know, it's like it must be a currency or something. You know?
It absolutely is. And channeling is not the ideal way to get information. So when
Yeah.
somebody is channeling somebody, let's say a lot of people like channel Saint Germain or whatever. Okay. Saint Germain does not need to come inside my physical body to give you a message.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way. Are people getting information this way? Yes. But the question becomes, where is the information coming from? Is it coming from the dark side, pretending to be the light side, giving me enough nuggets, right, to believe in this process? I'm going to share a story with you that I share kind of often because it has a lot of practicality to it. Long story short, I've got a client. It was a grandma, mom, and a daughter. And the daughter's a teenager. Mom is in her 40s. Grandma's in her 60s or 70s or whatever. Grandma dies. They live together. Grandma dies. And the granddaughter's super sad, wants to connect with grandma. The mom and I work and we cross over grandma. We make sure she's crossed over. She is. But then the girl, and this comes back to the very first question about thought forms that I forget who asked. Shelley mentioned the very first thought form. So the granddaughter is now, she and her girlfriend created a Ouija board out of a piece of paper. And they're asking the Ouija board questions. And they think they have grandma, but they invited something in totally different. So what they did is they opened a doorway. Okay, Ouija boards is a harmless, child's toy from Hasbro. I don't think so. Her mom wouldn't buy her one, so she made one. Still works, right? And so, anyways, the granddaughter is saying, "Mom, I'm talking to grandma. Grandma says this and this and this." And grandma is giving this teenage girl like, "Oh, you're going to be married to this person and you're going to do this, all these grandiose, perfect life things," right? Which, of course, what teenage girl or whatever doesn't want. So I said, "Well, do you mind if I come over?" She happened to live close enough to me because everything I usually do is on Zoom and all over the world. And yeah, absolutely. So I create a containment field, a spiritual containment field in their living room. And I said, "I am so impressed that your grandma came back to her. I'd love to talk to her." And so I said, "Invite your grandma to come in and, stand right here." And their mom and daughter on the sofa. I'm on another chair. And then she invites grandma in. So I start to vet grandma.
Whoa.
Okay. I vet grandma. So this is a tool that everybody can use. We always want to, whenever we're communicating with anything, vet to make sure we have the real deal. I mean, Archangel Michael's popular. Let's just say, "Oh, I'm calling an Archangel Michael." How do I know that's really him?
Yeah, really.
Okay. Right.
That's what I was saying. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you know what was interesting? Like, I don't want people to get. I've said this many times, and I don't want people to get upset with me. Like, because like someone in the community got cancer, and like he was a channeler, and I put together. I was like, well, if you're inviting entities in your body, like they might want an energy exchange. Like, so
Yes,
if
they do.
entities are constantly taking energy from you, that's not good for your health. You know.
They always extract their payment from health and wealth. Health looks like cancer. Health looks like suffering. Wealth looks like plumbing problems. Wealth looks like I have to buy all new appliances again, a job loss, etc. So they always will extract payment, these dark ones. So this granddaughter invites grandma in, and I start pouring down this very thick and heavy rain of salt all over grandma. It's a visualization technique. Everybody can do it and practice it. Then I started pouring frankincense on this grandma, and all of a sudden it shifted into a reptilian inside their house.
Whoa! Holy
And
shit!
yeah, and it was like, and the mom and the granddaughter just go like, they literally jump back, right? The reptilian could not get out of this containment field. This is something that I am grateful for. And I'm going to say hello to Space Cadet Lottie, who is also Loris. Nice to see you over on the other side of the pond. So anyways, what happened is she got a big lesson in what wasn't right. Had mom had not called me, this reptilian would have taken over that household. It would have
Holy shit.
invited its reptilian friends in. And this girl was homesick for her grandma. Her heart is
Oh, that's
pure,
sad.
right?
Yeah, that's sad, you know?
It,
That
it, it
beings are that
is.
cruel, you know, like that an entity's that cruel that it wants to get something, so it manipulates and turns shapeshifts into the grandmother because it knows it can play on our emotions. Like, you know, I've heard that happening, like, and I don't want to go too far off track, but I've heard that happening. I don't know if you believe in the soul trap or like
Mhm.
the, you know, but like some people think that like when we die and we go to the white light that it's a trick, like, and that like they do that there too. They said that they'll come in the form of as your grandmother or your mother, telling you that like it's okay, come to the light, reincarnate. Or maybe they're not saying anything about reincarnate at that point, but they're definitely saying like, you know, that everything's safe, and then it convinces you to go to the light. And then its theory is that then you basically wake up in a birth canal, or, you know, like because you've just been reincarnated back in through the matrix.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, but then some people like have kind of shot down the whole soul trap. I mean, do you see any, like, just as like, did you see any like anything to that?
Oh,
Or
yeah, absolutely. So in the work that I do, a lot of is soul reclamation. So the reptilians, and I've seen this so many times, and I've seen it with clients also. In my YouTube channel, which is under my name, I take these client sessions and I break them down so people can understand how this stuff works. So what the reptilians will do is they will harvest these souls. I call it soul napping.
yeah.
This is why we want to have a healthy soul, period. So the false light, this false matrix, yeah, it exists. Kidnapping happens in the 3D, so why wouldn't it happen in other dimensions too? So what they do, and they not just human souls, I've seen animal souls, I've seen angelic souls, and people, and now there's this thing about angels. We'll talk about that later if we get to it. I've seen all kinds of souls being soul napped, and they put them in what looks like these huge, it's hard to describe it, like this off-world silo, this off-world metal, and they just collect these souls and they recycle them. They use them to power up their technologies. They use them for all kinds of things. When you can free these souls, and we've taken these silos and sent them back to the higher realms, it changes the trajectory of their soul health for in perpetuity. You're taking them out of the trap when that happens. They get
Wow.
their soul sovereignty. They get their free will back. I don't even know who these people are. It doesn't matter. I don't care who they are. They're out of that trap. We're robbing the dark side of energy when we do that.
Wow, this is fascinating. I'm really glad we did this, because this is really like a great conversation. Let me think of what other questions I had. Hmm, I asked you about the entities. What about alien abduction? Do you deal with people who get abducted a lot, or like have contact?
Yeah. A lot of times with alien abductions, okay, this Rochelle person is hilarious. Okay. I could like have a cup of coffee with you. She's like, hey, little girl, friend of mine. I'm a friend of your mom's in another dimension, right? So you're so funny. Thank you. I love a good sense of humor.
This comment here, like this comment of, hey, little girl, I'm a
Yeah.
friend of your mom's, and she wanted me to come get you. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. It's just in a different dimension, right? Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Well, so
anyways, um, I forgot what we were talking about. I'm sorry.
alien contact.
Alien contacts. Alien contacts. Yes, I've had people that have had a variety of different types of alien contacts. What will often happen is with alien contact and alien abductions is they mess around with the physical body. And when that happens, they have these medical mysteries happening to them. They may have missing time. I've dealt a lot with, 20 and backs and that type of stuff, MK Ultra victims, SSPers. This is more common than we think it is. And we have to understand that these things do happen. Bad things happen to good people. And so with the help of other light beings, we often do the repairs or psychic surgery kind of thing to help them. And because it's stuff that the medical industry says, well, we don't know. We don't know what's going on. We don't know why your heart is twice the size of what it should be. We don't know why you're actually missing an ovary. And so part of this is also reclaiming any stolen DNA so they no longer have access to that person. Yeah, I just want to give it a pause because I've been like talking fast and furious here. So I just want to give everybody a second to like just think for a moment. Yeah. Nope, you're on mute, Rob. I'm sorry. I can't.
Hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now. Yeah.
I have a list. I had to plug in my thing so I could get my list of questions. But you talk about hindering spirits. What's a hindering spirit?
Hindering spirits are ones where there's no full-on possession happening. So if I am possessed, there's a spirit inside of my body that's not mine. On one of my YouTubes, I don't remember what the title of it is right offhand, but I worked with a woman who always had an addictive personality. It was alcohol, it was drugs, it was men, it was women, it was spending, it was this and that. And she couldn't understand it. And we started working. Long story short, one of her grandfathers died when he was 40 before she was born, remained as a ghost. He died of an alcohol addiction.
Wow.
Upon her birth, he entered her physical body, and she was always vying to be in front of her body, in front of her soul. And so that would be a full-on possession. What you're dealing with is more of hindering spirits where they're pecking at you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like I was gonna ask you, like, is it hard to like for you to, or has it been hard at times to distinguish between like an attachment, an energetic imbalance, or a psychological issue? Or are they pretty much easy to kind of spot? Like
Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we're married to our misery.
Yeah.
So I can remove all the entities till the cows come home. But if that person is programmed to think they need that misery or that existence, they'll create these thought forms to keep having them come back in. That's a possibility too. And somebody asked, Catherine asked, how can we help jabbed people? That's a very complicated question. They have to be able to have the free will to understand what was happening to them and want the help. If they want the help, that is fantastic. We can do more. But if they don't, that is where they are stuck at with their soul evolution for that time. Has their free will been taken? Absolutely. Is there something we can do with it? Yes, to a certain degree. So thank you for that question.
Yeah, that's it. Let me see here. What do you think's going on with like the whole spiritual warfare? Like, is it like do you think like it's like biblical, or do you think it's like
it's beyond biblical? It's beyond all the things. The spiritual warfare has been going on for millennia, even outside of our planet. I believe, and I could be wrong, that Earth is the 13th planet that could possibly face total destruction, but the light side is coming in and they're rethinking how they do business so that it won't happen. That's a big deal. We've seen, we can go into the galactic wars and stuff, and that's kind of the same thing that's happening here, but on a kind of a different level, more of a psychic interference type of level.
Yeah. And then and one thing you said is you worked with like people in the SSP and like Black Ops and stuff. Like, do they have it usually different? Like when it comes to entities, or you work with them like about like recovering memories, or like
it can be recovering memories. Yeah, definitely. And sometimes the abuses are so significant that their higher self and spiritual team says, no, that's not a good idea to recover those memories. And they'll give that person just enough to say, okay, I'm good. They won't, it's because these things are horrific. With SS peers, we've got people with missing time. We've got people with these unusual experiences where they remember being on Mars, for example, and running and jumping 50 feet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot there. I'm going to let my 17-pound coworker out. I apologize. One moment, please.
That's okay. Yeah. And while she's doing that, well, thanks everybody for being here. I'm looking at the counter. We have 70 people watching between my channel and Laura's, and that's not even counting the people watching on my Rumble. So yeah, it's a great turnout. Thank you guys for being here. And yeah, what about my labs and targeted individuals? Do you come across that a lot?
I do. I come across with voice to skull technology. I don't want to call people victims because it puts you in a one down position, right? But
Yeah.
people that have been affected with that, my labs, mind control. There's many ways that they can harness our energy. And one of the things they want to do is they want to create, when they create a huge amount of fears within us, traumas within us, we have an adrenochrome spike in us that starts to light up our psychic senses that they can utilize. So that's when we can start to disengage them from that, give them their life back. Part of it is helping them to understand that they can be safe, that their soul is safe, that their subconscious is safe. We have our conscious self here that you and I are, and all these people are having these conversations in a while, right? Together. We have our higher self, which connects us to the higher realms, but we have our subconscious. Our subconscious self, the medical industry says, keeps our heart beating, keeps us breathing. Yes, it does, but it does so much more. It is the record keeper to our soul. And when the subconscious gets traumatized, we become stagnant. We don't understand that the subconscious is traumatized. This is that concept of, oh, he's just a grown man, a little boy in a grown man's body, or a little girl in a grown woman's body, because they're frozen at these earliest signs of traumas. And they can definitely be earth plane traumas. They can also be these extrasensory traumas, such as my labs and SS peers. That's a big deal. And so when we can learn to unravel that and heal them, they get to have bits of their life back again.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, but see, like I was thinking like about mine, like I haven't given up, but I was just like, well, maybe this is just what I have to deal with because of like what I do. And maybe like, they're just going to keep sending this over and over and over again. And I maybe I like a targeted individual, but like, I don't want to give it that much amount of power, but like, you know, in my situation, like I feel kind of jaded because like I've tried everything, you know what I mean? Like,
I do get it.
I'm at
we
a
got to
point where
break
I'm
the
like,
program. We got to break the program and break those entities that are attached to you. And a lot of times we think we've removed the entities, but we've only removed one layer of them. We need to look back through time, back through space, and back through multiple dimensions to bring them all in and just suck them up and send them off. It's not that simple to remove a like a black magician, which is just a former ghost turned negative. It's not just enough to do, you know, a lot of times these entities, like when, let's say you and I are working or anybody else are working and we see maybe we see a hat man or we see some lower realm entities. I'm like, okay, we got that cleaned up. But I'm like, oh no, there's going to be more because these are the pawns on the chessboard. These are the disposable ones that the archons, that the reptilians use to make us think we got everything.
wow, so it's like a big deception. So I mean, well, that's good that you're able to spot that. Like, and not many people, I guess, can. You know, I mean, that's like, yeah.
It, you know, and I think that it came from my background in this life because I don't give up. and my story for those who don't know who I am is that one day our little girl came racing into our bedroom in the middle of the night and said, Mommy, the shadow men are in my room and they said they're going to steal my soul to break you. 6-year-olds don't talk like that.
Yeah.
So I had to fight like hell to figure out what to do, how to do this. And I became, basically a pit bull with a bone, and I wasn't going to let go. They messed with the wrong mama bear. And as mad as I was at the light side, the God side of things, I realize now looking back, that was my training ground to do this. I should be a retired school teacher with a pension. I keep saying that over and over and over, but I'm the most blessed person out there because I get to change people's lives in amazing ways. And I'm very blessed and honored and humbled to be able to do that.
Yeah. And now you have a book out too, so people can get your book. It's called Battle with the Dark Side: My Journey from Teacher to Exorcist. Is it kind of like, did you want to, I mean, I know we kind of talked about it, but do you give people like a little bit of an overview? Like, so like maybe we might have people that might want to get it,
it's basically my story of like how I went from a teacher basically to an exorcist. What I do, it's a form of exorcism. And the trials and tribulations along the way, there's 10 different stories that highlight, like they're just 10 stories that happened to us. Like the time I burned my house, almost burnt my house down with sage, for example.
Holy shit.
It didn't help me at all either, by the way. Sage doesn't remove reptilians, folks. Just let you know.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Like I've tried burning sage to to get the entities out, and it didn't do much. It'll move them for a tiny bit, but they'll just come right back.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And and we have to understand that a lot of these like light worker rituals, the dark side gave them to us.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna say, hey, let's take some dried crispy leaves and tell them to burn it, and then we'll pretend to leave. Sage is antimicrobial, antibacterial. It does have properties to it, but it's not going to remove your reptilian for you.
Yeah.
And there are things that do. Somebody's saying frankincense works. Absolutely. So, frankincense, gold, and myrrh is what the Christ child was gifted. They're high frequency substances. Frankincense and myrrh work together really nicely. Myrrh turbocharges the strength of frankincense, by the way. So when you use them in combination, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So the sap of a tree is that life force energy of the tree, right? The blood force of the tree.
Yeah.
So when we use sap instead of a dried crispy leaf, we've got a lot more spiritual horsepower there. When we use an essential oil, we're looking at the life force energy of the flower, that pure God-centered life force, which is also high frequency. And these essential oils are all different frequencies because, not every day I need frankincense. Someday I need orange, or someday, whatever it is, you figure out what you use and what works for you, and it can change. And so what we do is we start using these substances around us because it raises our vibrational field. So one of the things that I use, I think the company is Indigo Wild. It's ZUM. They actually have a frankincense and myrrh laundry soap with real essential oils in it. So all of my clothing is bathed in frankincense and myrrh. It adds a protective layer.
Wait, should I be getting that stuff? I can order it after the show. What's it called?
It's Indigo Wild. ZUM is the company name. I think Indigo Wild, .com.
Okay.
And it's, it's layers and layers of protections. And so what happens is, my sheets, my linens, my, everything is bathed in this. I don't make anything from the company. I just believe in it, but it's a good company. So I use the frankincense and myrrh, and everything gets washed in that, period. And so it creates it's a subtle energy thing. You can utilize the music from Mozart and Beethoven, for example. to clear your house. Just play Mozart on low. Dr. Masaru Emoto, the Japanese scientist, Messages from Water, discovered that this classical music had a very high vibrational field to it. And when you play the music, the water crystals became literally lightened and symmetrical. If you are using like maybe screamo music or whatever music, they become disheveled, these water crystals. You can play this stuff on your computer at the very lowest level and it still works. You don't have to hear it. But it's a subtle energy concept. And the goal is, guys, we have to build our spiritual tool belt.
Yeah.
What is working for me today may not be working for me next year, because both sides evolve, both sides pivot and change. So we have to learn how to shift, how to add to our spiritual tool belt. This is key. Wafting sage around only gets you so far. Prayer and meditation are helpful, but you got to have some action behind it. Learning to listen is huge. Our intuition is our superpower. It's not seeing dead people. It's all about our intuition. When we learn to trust our intuition, our psychic abilities start to expand. That's a big deal.
Wow. Yeah, I've never heard this. That's interesting. So yeah, that's wow. Like, yeah.
It keeps us safe, right? When we listen to our intuition, and it's our intuition is that first hit, that first thing. And then when we ignore the intuition, we're going to get another hit, but then our conscious mind's like, oh, that can't be true. And then we start to self-doubt. So go for the first hit. What's the worst thing that could happen? You're wrong. Who cares? Right? My most powerful intuition story, I've got quite a few of them. I was over at a girlfriend's house and we're having dinner. Her husband's out, out of town on a business trip and stuff. And I literally blurted out to her, I said, hey, I'm going to take you to work tomorrow. And I'm like, why the hell did I say that? That is so cringy. Okay. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'll just take you to work. We got some things to do tomorrow. Da, da, da. And I'm making this stuff up in my mind. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm having this conversation. I'm like, what the hell? I pick her up from work. I pick her up from the house the next morning. She had a widowmaker heart attack in my car.
Holy shit.
Thank God I listened to my intuition, because my friend would not be here with us right now. Another intuitive hit I had, this is probably equally as important. Okay. I'm training for a triathlon and I'm getting massages on a semi-regular basis. And I'm at the massage therapist's office. I said, you know what? I'm going to leave my clothes on. And she's like, okay. And she's thinking, that's weird. I could feel it, right? Shit you not, 10 minutes into the massage, the building caught on fire.
Whoa. Holy shit. Yeah, that's you can tell your intuition's super turned on. Yeah. Like,
yeah. So I was like, wow, okay. And we both laugh at this to this day. I mean, we became really good friends over that experience, right? It was an electrical fire in the wall.
Yeah, holy shit. Yeah, that almost happened to me one time with my microwave here. Like, I luckily I came downstairs. Like, again, I have these intuitive hits too. Like, so like one time, like recently, was at like 3 a.m. and I can send you the video. I sent it to someone last night. I still have it. So for whatever reason, like I still smoke cigarettes here and there, like not a lot, but like I'll have like a few a day. And like for whatever reason, like I woke up at 3 a.m. and decided to go out and have a smoke. Right. Well, like I never do that. Like I usually just like, I don't know. Like, but like when I went outside, I looked to the right and there was like this, like bright blue, like it looked like a portal area. It wasn't round and like, it wasn't like something you could jump through like a portal. It just looked like this whole area was like, it was so, and it's so blue. Like, some people said it was, and when I posted it on Instagram, some people said it was a fog, but I was like, I've never seen fog that blue. And I was in nature, and my friend Willow, who's in the chat right now, she said, in nature, she said, blue is like one of the most rare colors. So, and then I showed her the image. I can send it to you too. I think it was some kind of weird portal area opening up or something like that. I mean, I have no evidence to back that up. But then another time, this is totally unrelated, but about the intuition though, is like for some reason, like my mind told me to go downstairs and make coffee at like 5 a.m. And my microwave was short circuiting, and it was like basically like heating up the wall. So
Wow.
like I had to hurry up and call the fire department because I didn't think to just go downstairs and turn off the breaker. It's you don't think about, I thought at first the microwave was plugged into the wall, but it was actually wired into the wall. So I had to, it's yeah. So I've
Wow.
been happy that my intuition's helped in those situations.
Yeah, and when we get those, like, when we listen to our intuition, it's so empowering, right? It's like, wow, I can do this. So it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. Our
Yeah.
intuition.
I just wanted to ask you a couple more questions. So, like, what was it like when you guys had your experience that like led you to like do all this stuff, like with the haunting and stuff like that? Like, what were you seeing? Like, was it demons? Was it shadow people? Was it like? And then, how are your
Ooh,
kids now? Are they okay with everything? And
what wasn't it at the time? I mean, it was like literally who's who in the spiritual zoo. It was ghosts. It was shapeshifter beings. We had a lot of what I would call black magicians, which are former ghosts that have turned into dark entities by their own free will, through power and greed. We had, I didn't, like I said, I didn't know what they were. They were reptilians at the time. We had all kinds of stuff happening. Every day was, I'm going to say, a different adventure that was so exhausting. After that experience where my daughter came in and said the shadow men were going to steal my soul, I didn't sleep for years. I would go to sleep for 2 hours a night after they were in school because I was afraid if I fell asleep, what would happen? And every day it was different. Every day, I mean, I can't even begin to describe the book. My teacher from Exorcist book talks a lot about those days and a lot about looking for help. I mean, I cannot tell you how much clergy, psychic, shaman, and all the things that we called, and I'm trying to figure this out. And most of what I tried just didn't work.
yeah,
It
that's
was,
been my experience as well. That's
yeah,
why I really resonate with you because like that's why I'm so like jaded right now about the whole situation because it's like not I mean like okay like as far as like some of the healers that have tried to help me like I would recommend them to everybody. Like I'm not putting
yeah.
anything down or anything like that. I'm just saying like for whatever reason it didn't work for my situation. You know what I mean? Like
That's what I had when in my early days. People would recommend other people and stuff to me. Nothing worked. Like 3% of what I tried work, and the amount of money we spent on services and devices and all of these things, nothing was working. And it was so frustrating. And I remember, this is in that book. I had a very well-meaning friend said, "Well, did you burn some sage?" And I'm like, "I'm so green at this. What do you mean burn sage? What do you mean?" Okay, that's how green I was. And I'm like, "Where do you get sage?" And she says, "Oh, go to this metaphysical store here." Da, 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 da. So I go buy these 3 cute little bundles of sage. Um, and I take them home and I burn them and like nothing happens. And then she said, "Well, did you burn white sage?" And I'm like, "I don't know what the difference is." So she comes by the next day with some white sage. And I thought, and she's like, "Well, they're very powerful. Just burn one at a time." And I'm like, "Screw that. The kids are in school. My husband's gone. I'm going to burn them all." So I get a silver mixing bowl, and I talk about this often, and I light them on fire, and I'm sleep deprived. And so what happens when you light something on fire in a metal bowl? It gets hot fast, right? It
yeah.
literally, I drop it, it lands on the dining room table. It's this huge whoosh of a chimenea. Like, have you ever had a chimenea?
No, what's that? What's a
It's
chimney?
a Mexican fireplace. It's small, and it just, the fire can shoot out the top. My ceiling is scorched. The whole house is billowing with smoke. I'm opening the windows and doors. I'm like, "Please God, don't let anybody call the fire department." Um, and I walk outside, and all these entities walk out with me, and they're just laughing.
Holy shit.
I mean, it did nothing. And that was like time after time after time. That's what was happening to me. So I look at silver linings, and everybody out there who's dealing with this and suffering and everything else. Um, know that what you're doing, you're gaining lessons, but you're gaining experiences and knowledge. So most of what I learned in the early days was what didn't work. And then I said, okay, well, why didn't this work? This was the key. Why don't these things work? It ultimately, it all comes down to frequencies, but that was a lot of money dumped into the why it didn't work category. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brandon says, were you always able to see them?
When I was a kid, yes. And then when they faded away because whatever. And then when I was a teenager, it was the weirdest thing, but I could tell when somebody was going to die. It was not the coolest psychic ability to have whatsoever. Like I predicted like all these deaths. It was awful. So I said, I want no part of it. I stayed away from it. But then when my daughter became very psychic, it all came rolling back to me. And these abilities do follow family lines. Everybody has psychic ability. The issue is different themes and variations and degrees of psychic abilities. So just know that when we're developing a psychic ability, it may ebb and flow. It may come and go. You may start to do this or see or sense something differently. So yeah.
Wow. This is a fascinating interview. Like, I mean, I thought this was amazing. I mean, like, is there anything else you want to cover before we finish up? And I would love to have you back on again. This was great.
All right,
I
thank
think
you.
this is really, yeah.
You know, the best advice is test and vet your guides. Learn if it's muscle testing, if it's visualization techniques. When we learn to muscle test, we're actually connecting to our higher self. And if you get the wrong answer or you get a shapeshifter, you know, let's say I'm vetting Archangel Michael and he turns out to be a shapeshifter, don't think I wasn't worthy, think I dodged a bullet. And just make sure that the light side I'm commanding the light side takes this thing away to the higher realms right now.
Yeah.
It can be that simple. So thank you. And I want to thank you for this opportunity too, Rob. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, do you want to tell people where they can follow you and find you and stuff? And I love this. This was awesome.
Thank you. My name, LauraVantyne.com, LauraVantyne.com. And on my website, I do want to say that I have a ton of blogs. I write a blog a week. Right now, I'm a month behind in August, but I write a blog a week on average about a variety of topics to help people help themselves. If we can get people to start to help themselves, it frees up humanity so much. If people need services, spiritual services to clean or clear something, I have that as well. But also, if you're hiring any practitioner, you want to make sure that ask them, how do they vet their guides? How do they vet whom or what they're talking to? Ask them, you know, how they do things. Question them. If you don't like their answers, you don't owe them anything. Period. It's an opportunity for you to learn how to discern. Discernment is key. Discernment keeps us safe.
Absolutely. Well, this was well said. And yeah, and thank you guys for everybody for tuning in today. And yeah, and go to Laura's website and check her out. And what's your YouTube so people can follow you on YouTube?
It's Laura Vantyne, at Laura Vantyne. And I take my client sessions and load them up there so people can get an experience of a client session and to see the work. A lot of what I've been doing now are past life regressions that will show how things work in their life versus in the past life and the connections and things like that. There's one, I think it was the very first one I uploaded was, I did a past life regression that turned into her current life alien abduction.
Whoa.
That was wild. There's 2 parts to that one. Yeah. So there's a lot out there.
I might check that out for real. That sounds cool. I mean, it sounds interesting for sure. Yeah.
Thank you. So thank you for asking. So there's all Instagram, Facebook, all the things, books. The books are in my store on the website and stuff like that. So, and I have classes to teach people how to protect themselves, spiritual self-defense and some other things like that. I've got a class right now that I'm teaching second Saturday of every month. You can still enroll and you can have the first month's link, but it's about, is it a dark entity? Is it heavy energy? Is it something else? And what do you do about it? because it's a 5-month course once a month where people get to learn some things and also have some Q&A time with me.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Laura,
you.
for coming today, and thank you, everybody. And everybody, I'm done for tonight. No more shows, and for tonight. But I will see everybody tomorrow. And